Yeah, so my project has been a bit of an adventure. Um, I tragically don't have something super cool to present like the other few people before me. Um, Mostly due to technical headaches and other issues. But I will be talking a little bit what I did try and do and how it kind of went. So what I tried to do was originally, I think Ellie wrote the Mandelbrot set in JavaScript as a DCP kind of demo. And my original goal was to rewrite that with test-driven development in a much more modular format, and then deploy that to DCP and run it. And along the way, Pedro and I discussed the idea of maybe writing this whole thing in Rust, and then using WebAssembly and getting the bindings, and then using those WebAssembly bindings to be able to run Rust code in DCP, which is like a really, in my opinion, like a really great thought because the hot take here is that I think Rust is an objectively better language than JavaScript, and I think we should all be using it anyways. So what ended up happening here, and I'll show this very quickly, is that in the process of doing so, I ran into many technical headaches and I still can't get anything to compile on DCP. But I'll kind of show you the process of getting Rust code to a WebAssembly binding, and then kind of what I did to try and get the package on the DC package manager, and how I tried to call it in the work function, and etc. So hopefully this goes all right. And so can everyone see my screen? I'm going to take the silence as a yes.
Yes, you can.
Can you make it a bit bigger, please?
So, yeah. Let me. Oh, I don't want to do. Hold on. Let me make this a bit bigger. I don't have any code on the screen just yet, and I'll make the font size much bigger. Is that better? I can see everything.
A little bit more. Please.
That's good.
Nice.
All right. Cool. So I guess starting with the Rust code is in this source file, and I basically, well, in this case, I tried to just recreate the toCapital function in Rust. But this is more of a proof of concept, the fact that you can actually do this. If I open a new window quickly, I've also made a much more sophisticated Rust program that has a much more going on, and the process is exactly the same. And the end goal of all of this is you want to compile this into WebAssembly. And the way you do that is Rust has this really cool package man, not package man, but like Packer, I guess, for WebAssembly code called Packer, which is aptly named, I guess. So what you do is you would run this wasm pack, and then you set its target build, and you set the target to Node.js. By default, this compiles to like whatever the latest JavaScript standard is that you use for web development, like similar to what React would use. But because in DCP we use this require, you do need to target Node.js. At least I'm pretty sure. So this will run. And what this produces is this package folder. And in this package folder, you have a couple of files. So first you have this. Can everyone see the text?
Yeah.
Is it like a good size? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So what you get, I mean, what's in this file doesn't really make any sense. This is just a JavaScript wrapper for a bunch of Rust code. And the actual WebAssembly code is in this .wasm file. So the thought here, and I was working with Sam, and also thanks to everyone who tried to help me out with this. I really appreciate it. You get this WASM file and you get this JavaScript. And the idea that I had was, now from here, you want to make this into a package that DCP understands and that we can deploy. So I made this deploy folder and this deploy.js file. And well, the idea is you wrap it in this module.declare kind of function. And then you make, so you also have to copy in this wasm.dcp example file into this deploy folder. You make this package.dcp, and in it you give it a name, a version, and some files. The files you have to give it are this .wasm file because the deploy.js file requires it somewhere, I'm sure. Probably here. And so you require these two files, and then you build and deploy the package as you would on DCP. So that was the idea, at least. In theory, I thought that this would probably work, and hopefully I don't break anything substantially. And I guess to give context to the fact that I actually wrote working WebAssembly code, we can require it. Shows you how much I rely on autocomplete to actually like do anything. And we can call and we can do wasm demo dot to capital. And again, just to prove to you guys that you should believe me that this actually makes valid WebAssembly bindings. It does indeed make a. So this isn't actually calling a JavaScript function. This is calling a Rust function in JavaScript, which is like really cool. And I guess the idea is now, if you want to change this to like the same format as your compute.for, you know, you would do this and then do a for loop. So like this would be like the non DCP idea of, you know, what we're kind of trying to do here. Right. And it works, and it works nicely. And this is really cool. WASM code's awesome. I don't know if it's much faster. In my experience, it's roughly the same, but it gives you the benefit of not having to work with JavaScript as much. So I think that's a win. So this is the DCP function that I tried and have had very little success with. I'm also pretty sure I broke something along the way because I can't actually run any DCP code right now, so I don't know what to say. But the idea is the same. You require these two files, and then in your compute.for, you simply require it here and then call it. I don't know why this doesn't work. I don't actually know how DCP works. I just write the code and hope for the best. And if I try to run this, you'll all see the same error that I've been having all day long, is that it does the whole deploying thing and then hangs forever. But I think that, so I guess to reflect a bit on the whole project, I really think that this is something worth pursuing and something that I think DCP would benefit greatly from making easy to do. Because WebAssembly is pretty awesome, and so is Rust. And I think that if you make it easy enough to write your code in Rust and then simply package it up and send it to DCP and run it however you want, I think that's very, very, very valuable. Especially since like you don't have to work with JavaScript. I think that's the real win about all of this. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much my presentation. I'm sorry that it's not something a bit complicated. Yeah, and it just sits here forever. So if anyone's interested and has a work DCP, I can send this code to you and you can try and run it. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have. If there's any questions, let me know.